What is your one big concern about the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, it's tough to find, but I think you got to go with the young quarterback, Bo Nix, and is he going to perform consistently enough? We've seen brilliance from him, incredible against the Packers, then lays an egg against the Jaguars, has a bad game against the Raiders on a Thursday night, but Bo's up against the Chiefs. He has definitely got the talent. Does he have the consistency? Do they have the playmakers on offense that they need to put together multiple playoff wins in a row and make a run?
They have the inside track at the 1 seed. If it's not them, it'll probably be New England. So, Dominique, what is your one big concern about the Patriots?
Yeah, I think it's playoff experience. So it's another young quarterback who hasn't been in a ton of big games. So we'll see what happens there. But if you want something a little bit more tangible, it's probably their run defense. Like, they're going to get Milton Williams back, which should help. But they've been really bad against the run the last several weeks, even in games that they've won.
Yeah, that's Breece Hall running it through them this past weekend in a game in which the Jets parenthetically did not compete. One more. J-Mac, what is your one big concern about the Eagles?
When you look at Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, the head coach, and then the offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, can they figure out this pass game enough to win multiple games? They've won 2 games without Jalen Hurts completing a pass in the second half. They did so this past Sunday against Buffalo.
All right, so that's what we want to stop and dive in on. Let's just show you the numbers here, all right? The Eagles in the first half this past week had 174 yards of total offense. In the second half, 16. It was their 4th game this year with a first to second half yardage differential of 150 or more in either direction, which is the most of any team in the NFL. Sal Palantonio was covering that game for us for Sunday NFL Countdown, all of our shows, and he jumps in with us here as always. Sal, wonderful to see you because you cover that team daily and you're intimately familiar with what is going on there. So if we were to ask you what happened with that offense in the second half, and can it be turned around in time for this team to defend its Super Bowl championship over the next month, what would you say?
Well, Michael, 2 questions. Let's take them one at a time. First, what happened to the offense in the second half? I agree with head coach Nick Sirianni that this was not on the quarterback. This anemic offense in the second half was not a Jalen Hurts problem. It was a coaching problem. It was a design problem. You look at what the Buffalo Bills did, and you see Jalen Hurts under duress from the moment he drops back in the second half. The Bills were winning at the line of scrimmage. They were plastering the receivers in man-to-man coverage. They had penetration in the running game. Saquon Barkley can't get going at all. The offensive line was losing the line of scrimmage against the Bills. We saw this when the Bills were down 21-0 in New England. Sean McDermott did the same thing in the second half. He got uber aggressive against the New England Patriots, shut down Drake May, by the way, J-Mac's favorite for the MVP, and the New England Patriots lost that football game. So, in my opinion, I think Nick Sirianni's right. And I asked him about it post-game. He needs to get more involved in play calling in the second half in that game. If they get a little bit more creative, Dallas Goedert over the middle, swing passes to Saquon Barkley, get the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands much more quickly, this team has a championship-level defense. They're going to go far in the playoffs if they can just figure it out offensively.
So Dominique, as you hear all of that, the conversation here yesterday was this defense is good enough to carry them almost all by themselves. What is your sense of this offense's potential over the next month?
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything that Sal said. The problem is we've been saying it all season, and I think they've been trying all season. I don't have any faith that they're going to turn the corner. We've been all year. They got to get more creative. They got to run it more. They got to get the quarterback under the center. They got to do more QB run. We've told them to do everything. None of it's worked. So they have super talented guys. They have a great defense. I think they have to go back to a conservative way of playing and take big shots to their all-pro level receivers and hope that it works out. I hope that those matchups work in their advantage. I don't imagine that they can all of a sudden get more creative on offense and it's going to work because they haven't done it yet. We've been telling them to do it for 17 weeks now.
The whole Jalen Hurts of it all, Sal, just quickly, because you said that it was not on him. And clearly, he doesn't make the big mistake in the second half when they're playing the entire game with the lead, and that is the good news. But is there a route to his becoming more dynamic and their offense becoming more dynamic that you can see in the next 5-6 weeks?
Well, they showed that on tape against Washington and Las Vegas, albeit Raiders and Commanders. I get it. It was sort of a dress rehearsal for the Buffalo Bills and the playoffs. But they used 1 back, 3 wide receivers, spread empty. They would have Saquon Barkley motion from left to right very often, get the linebacker out of the middle of the picture, and then operate in the middle of the field with Dallas Goedert. It was very successful. But Sean McDermott's a smart defensive coordinator, learned under the knee of Jim Johnson. He understands what the Eagles were doing, and they figured it out, and they got after Jalen Hurts, and they got after Saquon Barkley. I think they will figure it out. Nick Sirianni has shown an ability to adapt when the chips were down. He's done it throughout his career in Philadelphia, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 4 playoff appearances, winning a Super Bowl. They will figure it out, but they got a championship. I agree with Rex Ryan. This defense is championship level.
Danny.
The problem is, like with the offense, when you talk to people even early this season, like it's not the most complex offense in the league. That, like, just the way it's designed, there's a lot of simplicity to it. And their advantage last year was the offensive line was crushing people, and Saquon Barkley was running through the holes and never stopping. They're not accomplishing that this year. So they don't really have a ton of answers. They don't have a ton of ways they can create advantages for their offense. So it almost does feel like they have to be conservative and lean on that defense because, they're not. I don't think there's like this pile of like new plays in the desk that they just haven't tapped into.
J-Mac, final word.
And I think what was disappointing, I think to Sal's point, in that second half, Buffalo did play man-to-man. And if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you achieved what you wanted to achieve. You got a lead. You ran the ball well in the second half. You have Devontae Smith and you have A.J. Brown. If a team decides that we're just going to play man-to-man and get aggressive, you have 2 of the best weapons in the NFL to be able to take advantage. Weather played the part.
Do much more on them as we go. Obviously, the weather was a major factor. Sal, outstanding. Thank you for jumping in. We'll see you as the week goes on.
That's the matchup. They're not going to be scared. Go back, 15 years, the 7-9 Seahawks beating the defending champion Saints in a playoff game at home in the Beastquake game. It can happen. There's no doubt about it. The fact that an 8-9 or 9-8 division champion would get a home game against a wild card team that won 11 or 12, some people think that's not fair, but that's the way the rules are set up. And would anybody be surprised at this point if Tampa Bay started to look like the team it was in September and October? It really should. I don't know what's gone wrong with that team. So, no, I don't think it's a free win for anybody in the first half. Jeff would he'd overreact. He'd say, come on, have you seen Carolina?
They're both in
Have you been watching?
Bryce Young didn't lead him back to a 7th game-winning drive. You can see the Panthers and the Bucks. That is on ABC and ESPN Saturday afternoon, 4:30 Eastern.
Okay, so those are some overreactions. Dan, what is something we are underreacting to heading into Week 18?
I think more people should be talking about Christian McCaffrey for MVP. Like, the MVP race supposedly is Matthew Stafford, who's played his worst in some of these games late in the season that the Rams could have salted away the division by winning. Drake May, who, great year, but they've beaten one team that's currently in the playoff field, and they also lost to that team. Meanwhile, here come the San Francisco 49ers out of nowhere with a game to clinch the 1 seed in a season where they lost Nick Bosa and Fred Warner to season-ending injuries. They played for more than a month without their starting quarterback. Brandon Ayuk never showed up. This is an incredible job by a 49ers team. The only one who stayed healthy is McCaffrey, oddly enough, who hardly ever does. He's over 2,000 scrimmage yards. He is 7th in the league in receptions, not among running backs, among everybody. He is having an MVP caliber year in a year where the quarterback field, quite frankly, is somewhat uninspiring.
You wanted to vehemently oppose that take. Remember, you were talking about it.
I just said it seems poorly researched. That's what I said. I said we don't have any of the reception numbers. We don't have any of the
17 total touchdowns this season, and he's an absolute workhorse. Graz, I do have a question. Had Matthew Stafford had another incredible game, handful of touchdowns, and the Rams did win yesterday, would you still sort of be beating that Christian McCaffrey drum for MVP?
I think it would still be a point worth making. I mean, Stafford felt like they wanted to give a Lifetime Achievement Award to a guy who honestly hasn't achieved all that much. But yeah, I think I might have still been able to make that case, but it would have been tougher.
He won a Super Bowl. He's over 42 touchdowns. Hasn't achieved. Dan Graziano, old Danny